So over 50% of United States households have a video game console, and over 20% of the United States population identifies as a gamer. Now this is going to mean a lot for politicians, especially with future generations. So let's get right in to 5 things that can help politicians win the gamer vote. Now, the gamer vote is shockingly not talked about that much. For a lot of teenagers playing video games, with a lot of teenagers identifying as gamers, and that's growing into people who are 18 and over. A lot of 30-year-olds you're seeing now are still playing video games, and they will still probably play video games until into retirement, etc. You're starting to see a lot more older gamers, but you see a lot of young gamers. So basically the TV and cable is dying out and it's going to Netflix and video games. So with gamers being such a high percentage of Americans, with 20% identifying with that culture. Now, I want to make one thing clear. Just because you play video games does not mean that you are a gamer. There is an entire culture behind being a gamer. The grind aspect, you have to know about your memes. There's a whole entire different comedy realm. Gamers typically aren't into normal comedy. We are typically edgy, ironic sort of comedy. So there's an entirely different language for gamers. There's an entirely different realm of comedy for gamers. There's an entirely different culture for gamers. And it revolves around a lot of politics, and social justice isn't popular in the gaming community. You'll see things like the N-word and sexist slurs being thrown around in online gaming. This isn't all gamers, but I think it's just, like I said, it's just how we work. And even with the women in video games, which, by the way, is about half of men in video games, which a lot of people actually think is lower. It's not really as low as a lot of people think. 15% of men in the United States identify with gamer culture, and 6% of women do as well. And this goes with the women as well, the non-NPC, non-politically correct people. You're never going to see a gamer really be really politically correct. I mean, I can think of one time where a guy yelled at me for saying something that wasn't politically correct in my entire gaming history. Most of the time, people agree with that. Most of the time, you know, when you go into these online gaming realms, it's not very PC at all. So the first thing I have is actually protect freedom of speech, because freedom of speech is under attack in the United States, to where you see incidents like Stephen Crowder basically getting deplatformed. Well, he didn't get deplatformed, but he got demonetized. Then you see things like Alex Jones getting deplatformed, a few other people getting deplatformed, having their speech censored by big corporations. And you even see with Xbox a lot, you'll get voice communication bans. So if you say anything offensive on Xbox, you might get your right to freedom of speech taken away. Even though Xbox primarily sells in the United States, so you would think that they would respect our Constitution, but they really don't. So yeah, that's a big thing for gamers, is protecting freedom of speech. So basically, gamers believe that we should be able to say anything we want without any consequences, because words can't hurt people unless if they incite violence. So, you know, you guys know about inciting violence, right? Like, you can't scream fire inside of a crowded movie theater, stuff like that. Obviously you can't do that, right? But other than that, we should be able to say anything. So basically, legalize the N-word for white people. Is a sentence I would pretty much sum that up. So my second part is strong cybersecurity. Now, gamers are most likely to be the targets of doxing, hacking, swatting, and many other things. If you guys don't know what swatting is, it's basically when a hacker might get your IP address, and then they get your address itself, and then they call a SWAT team and you get swatted, with the police thinking that you're a serious hardened criminal when really you're just sitting there playing a video game, most likely streaming on Twitch or YouTube or something else, to where people can see you this happening. People have been killed because of this, because like I said, the police go into your house heavily armed. They think that you're a suspect when really you're not. That's basically what swatting is. So we need stronger cybersecurity, and I know this is really hard to keep up with because hackers are basically the smartest criminals in human history. I mean, if a killer had half the IQ of a hacker, then we would be in serious trouble, basically. Because hackers are super intelligent, they continue to work to commit their crimes, but we need to have as strong as cybersecurity as possible. This goes for big corps, so big corporations don't get hacked. So basically, we need to update the power grid in the United States. That would go a long way to this. But also, we need more steps to make sure that gamers and other online users are protected in the United States, because we go a long way to protect people from real crime, or in real life crime, I guess you could say. But we need to start looking at hacking, doxing, and swatting as real crimes, because people can still die from those things. People can lose their jobs, lose their bank accounts, everything else because of those things. So I don't see why it's really not being looked at as a real crime, because a lot of politicians in office right now, they're so old that when they grew up, they didn't deal with these crimes. They didn't know what it was until recent years. So when you have people like Joe Biden running for president of the United States, he doesn't even know what doxing is, most likely. He doesn't know what hacking is. He's never met a hacker. Probably not. I mean, dude doesn't even know what Instagram is. So I don't see how he's going to protect us with cybersecurity. So the third one is protecting the Second Amendment along with the First Amendment. First and second kind of go hand in hand, a lot of people might say. But when you look at gamers, a lot of popular video games revolve around guns and around shooting. In a good way, in a bad way sometimes. Yeah, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Tom Clancy games are really popular. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint coming out in a few months. Not a few months, but a while down the road. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit talking too fast for myself in this video, I suppose. Yeah, so shooters are really popular in video games, and that leaves gamers mainly pro Second Amendment, because we like playing with guns, and popular hobbies for gamers outside of gaming, like in real life hobbies, would include paintballs, shooting ranges, laser tag, etc. are really popular among gamers, and gamers are really pro Second Amendment. So being pro Second Amendment as a politician would almost be key for winning over the gamer vote. Number 4 is caring about climate change. So gaming, and when I say gamer culture, that goes into anime, computer, online creators, and just gaming in general, and console and PC. So this is a lot of nerdy, techie stuff, and gamers are typically seen as more geeky types. So when you imagine that, you could probably imagine that we're going to be caring about the climate and caring about scientific stuff that's proven. So we need to take steps. I don't really agree with Democrats yelling climate change, climate crisis every 20 seconds, but we need things like the bottle return in every 50 states. If you don't know what the bottle return is, it's basically they add 10 cents per bottle or can of soda that you buy, so that way you're less inclined to buy highly caffeinated beverages. But also, if you recycle those pops and cans at designated stores, which is most of the stores in Michigan and 4 other states, I couldn't tell you what those 4 other states are right at the top of my head, but if you recycle those pop cans or bottles, then you get your 10 cents back. So let me recap that for you. You have to pay 10 cents for every pop bottle or can that you purchase in the store, but when you bring them back to that store, then you're getting those 10 cents back. So you're less inclined to buy the caffeinated beverages in those states, but you're also a lot more inclined to recycle them, which is a great system we have going in these 5 states. There's not really a whole lot of cons to it, so we need that. I don't really agree with the plastic straw ban. I believe in pushing metal straws and metal cups and more. I actually started using one for real the first time when I started working. I've had a few of them in the past, but I really started using it once I had my first job, because my job actually gave me a really nice rewashable cup and straw that I really enjoy using. And it's great for the environment too, because now I'm not constantly using plastic cups and plastic straws. Because let's be real here, if we're going to ban plastic straws, we might as well ban plastic cups as well, because there's no reason to have a plastic cup around if you can't drink it with a straw. But yeah, so I think we need to push metal/plastic cups and straws, reusable stuff like that. We need to push reducing, reusing, and recycling with the pop return laws, with pushing metal and plastic cups and straws. Alrighty guys, so last but not least, we have cutting back on taxes, tax breaks, tax cuts, etc. And this is for both business and people. So basically, when you think about gamers and gamer culture, when you look at a lot of video games, it revolves around working for stuff, and a lot of times we have this capitalist value to us where we're grinding for stuff, whether it be in games or in real life, and we don't want anything to happen to them. We don't want to, have the game crash. We don't want to have NPCs taken from us. We don't want to be killed in game by other players, and we want to keep the stuff we earn overall, and we want a fair playing ground. With that being said, it goes for the same thing in real life. When you're working, when you're grinding away for the things you want, when it comes to that second Friday of the month and you get your paycheck, you want to see as little of it taken as possible. You want to see that you kept what you grinded for, and I think most gamers want a little to no taxes. Now, I'm not saying we're all a bunch of no taxes anarchists, because that's just insane. But most gamers want to strive for as little taxes as possible, because like I said, we have that capitalist mentality. Alrighty guys, unfortunately I had to cut the original ending from there, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button down below, comment your thoughts on how politicians would win the gamer vote, and make sure you go ahead and share this video, because that really helps me a lot. And I recently found out that 63% of my viewership comes from people who aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys subscribe. Subscribing goes a long way. And it's just easier to subscribe, so that way, you can actually go to subscriptions and easier find my videos. And that's so much easier than trying to search it up. But yeah guys, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. That's vital for both your convenience and my statistics. So, just please, it's right down there.